It's just shocking to see the scale of what's taken place here. Behind me.
You see that? That is not in a third world country. That is in our beautiful British countryside here in Britain. I am disgusted by this.
I think we're probably 20 feet high or so, but running back along this site doubles in height.
Look
and
at
you can
that.
see the depth. We're talking hundreds at least, if not thousands of tons of waste. And it's just extraordinary that this could have taken place and that the criminals have put so much waste into our environment. Cherwell District Council officers who know the waste industry well have estimated that the cost of removing the enormous amount of waste here would be greater than the entire budget of Cherwell District Council. That's
Wow, that is insane. I really hope that something is done about this rather than left to just pour into the river, which is right next to that site, by the way, because that is going to be a very expensive ask. These criminals should be absolutely ashamed of themselves by causing an environmental disaster so they could make a bit of wonga.
not something that local residents and taxpayers can afford, which is why I took the issue to government to say that we need urgent help. What's happening is across the country, criminal gangs are dumping waste on this scale, and it's going to require government intervention to allow us to clean up quickly before these kinds of pollutants leach their way into the River Cherwell.
So, folks, that is in Oxfordshire on the River Cherwell, and I am a kayaker. I used to live in Oxford, and so I used to kayak on the River Cherwell and on the Thames that it joins into. And so, just to give you an idea of where this is, so here's a map of Oxford. You can see Kidlington north of Oxford there, and the A34, the dual carriageway there. This site is right next to the A34, and look at. So you can see this field here that has a sort of narrow tunnel towards the end of it that is right alongside the River Cherwell, right? That little tunnel there, that funnel, that is where that huge pile of waste is that you saw in that video. Now, the reason why this is such an emergency right now is because what has happened is the ground was very, very dry over the summer, and we had quite a bit of rain in September, but that wasn't a huge issue because the ground was so dry that the fields absorbed all of that water. Now the ground is completely sodden and it's starting to rain a lot again. When there's no space for it in the soil, what happens is that the river levels start rising, which means the river's going to start pouring into that area where all of that waste is, and the river is going to start flowing fast. So this little River Cherwell that joins into the Thames in the centre of Oxford, it's going to start pouring waste into the River Thames, which we know it's a huge river. It goes down, it goes through Reading, it goes all the way down to London. This is a disaster, and I was trying to make sense of why on earth someone would do this, because I've not, we see fly tippers dumping a sofa here and there, but I'm think that huge amount of waste, what kind of operation is this? What money is being made here? So I looked into this a little bit, and I see that you have these criminal gangs. They will act as like fake waste removals companies. So I guess they'll go to not just houses, but suppose big building sites and whatnots, and take money to take their waste away from them and say, don't worry, we'll dispose of this and we'll deal with it for you. They take it, and rather than paying the cost to actually take it to a proper landfill site, and you've got to pay taxes and all sorts, it's very expensive. I mean, you heard the guy saying there about how to remove it from that area would cost more than the entire budget of the council. They take the money from the people that they claim they're removing waste for, and then they dump it illegally in places like this, presumably middle of the night, quiet spot, middle of nowhere. It's just disgusting. Here are some of the details in the Telegraph. The illegal rubbish heap, described as an environmental catastrophe unfolding in plain sight, is about 20 foot high and about 500 foot long, and it's believed to have been done in one go last month. So it's been there for some time, and as I said earlier, this maybe wouldn't have caused, it's probably stayed put for now because it hasn't been raining that much in October. But now the ground is sodden, it's started pouring down with rain again, those river levels are going to start rising, this stuff is going to start pouring into the river, and something needs to be done now. Now there's a charity called Friends of the Thames, They say that this was an organised crime group, and they said to the BBC, "This is an environmental catastrophe unfolding in plain sight. Every day that passes increases the risk of toxic runoff entering the river system, poisoning wildlife and threatening the health of the entire catchment. The Environment Agency must act now, not in months or years, which is their usual reaction time." This is the thing, look, the EA is one of these another, government quangos with civil servants that really take their time to deal with things, but right now it has to go before it starts raining anymore. As we go into winter, this has to be dealt with now, else the River Thames is gonna look absolutely horrific, and it's going to be very dangerous for the wildlife, let alone horrible for all of us that do water sports and use the river. And everyone on Twitter is outraged because in Britain we're very proud of our countryside, we're very proud of the natural beauty. I mean, you see how angry people get when they put some solar panels in a field, but we look like a third world country now. Chris Rose says this is completely unacceptable. Rubbish as deep as 20 foot and 500 foot long dumped into the Cherwell. I've never seen a disgusting sight like this in England before. A first world country should never look like this. Paul Watson says seeing this in England would have been unthinkable even as recently as 5 to 10 years ago. Absolutely, it isn't English. Of course, you have criminals in England and whatnot, and people might make money. Criminals might make money off selling drugs and whatnot. But to ruin our beautiful countryside so that you can make some cash, it's not British. It's quite frankly disgusting. Now, of course, we do not know who has done this, but I would not be surprised if it is somebody who isn't from this country, who doesn't love and respect this country. I'm just absolutely appalled, and I really hope that they managed to catch whoever did this. I mean, if it's over a month ago now, there might be no chance. These people have they've been and gone. Presumably, there's not really any CCTV there. I don't think there are many speed cameras or anything on that road. Like, it's not very surveilled, that one. James Melville says this is absolutely disgusting. Britain is becoming a wasteland rather than a green and pleasant land. And Chris Newton says it's like nobody cares anymore. It's like we've given up as a country. We have no standards or shame anymore. It's heartbreaking to see Britain like this. This absolutely breaks my heart. Now, of course, I'm particularly annoyed about this because I'm a kayaker, I'm a river user, and I was a user of the River Cherwell as well. But I think anyone who is British who loves their countryside, there's beautiful countryside in the Oxfordshire area, should be absolutely disgusted. I feel like in this country we're decent people who care about respecting our community and nature and rules, but clearly not in this case. And I really hope that this does not become a more common occurrence. And the thing is I hope that the EA, they do something about this. But you heard what that man said. This is bigger than the entire budget of Cherwell District Council to clear it up. The taxpayers. This is a big bill to us, the taxpayers. Are just absolutely disgusting that any human being would do this so that they can make some cash. There's no excuse for it. Anyway, rant over. I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more news, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below because we keep you up to date with everything important happening. See you next time.